it's your time, baby. It's your time, baby. Get wild, baby. That's the difference when you're my baby. That's how it is when you. Nobody make me stop the world. What do we do when these people don't know what you've been through? You survive through the night, through the dark. That's the time. It's only right that you do what you like. Go ahead, it's your time, baby. It's your time, baby. Get wild, baby. That's the difference when you're my baby. That's how it is when you. Nobody make me stop the world. Go ahead, it's your time, baby. It's your time, baby. Get wild, baby. That's the difference when you're my baby. That's how it is when you.
Olola Bode Ogunlana is the founder and chairman of SCIB Nigeria & Co. Limited. SCIB, a company he founded 45 years ago, has now become the leading insurance and reinsurance broking company in Nigeria. Operating out of 6 offices from 5 cities in Nigeria: Lagos, Ibadan, Port Harcourt, Kano, and Abuja. Over the years, SCIB has consistently differentiated itself from other insurance brokers in Nigeria by offering unprecedented services to its clients, leveraging on experience, professionalism, and innovation. SCIB has skilled and multidisciplinary teams of professionals dedicated to providing cost-effective insurance broking, reinsurance broking, and consultancy services, as well as ensuring a fair, prompt, and seamless claims recovery process so that the promise of insurance is kept for valid claims. In Nigeria, SCIB is the correspondent network partner to both Aon and Aon Re respectively, one of the leading global insurance brokers and the leading global reinsurance broker. For both corporate and individual clients in search of insurance solutions, SCIB is your #1 company of choice. SCIB is ready to partner with you on your risk journey. For more details as well as our contact, please visit our website at www.scibng.com.
Good morning, everyone, or rather good afternoon. Apologies for the lateness. We have Olola, Bode, Ogunlana here today. We're going to start with a prayer.
O Lord, for as much as without thee we are not able to preach. Mercifully grant that thy Holy Spirit may now control and direct our hearts, especially this morning. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, we have prayed.
Amen.
Amen.
So, again, my apologies for the lateness. We will continue swiftly. I'm not going to take too much of your time doing a long introduction. I would let Olola himself, take over and start talking to you. But before I go on, I'd like you to know the format we're going to take. He's going to deliver a speech on leadership, and then next he will be taking questions and answers. So for the time being, he will talk about leadership as well as insurance, which is his base. So over to you, sir. Sir.
Thank you very much. I've been asked to give you a short address on leadership. This is very important in this day and age. When you say lead, it's to show someone the way to a destination by preceding or accompanying such people. In contrast, lead someone on, that is to deceive someone into believing that one is attracted to them or to have their good at heart. This is common among the politicians and those who mislead or hoodwink others. Who is a leader? A leader is a person who leads or commands a group, organization, or country. Plato said many years before Christ was born, those having torches will pass them on. Leadership role emanates from this notion. A good leader needs some attributes to perform efficiently. From my own experience, which spans over 5 decades, among these are skill, expertise, talent, ability, competence. Any leader who hasn't got that cannot lead. He must have understanding, he must possess knowledge. Next, must be a patient person, patience. The capacity to tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without becoming angry or upset. Perseverance, continue in a course of action in spite of difficulty or with little or no indication of success. In this day and age, the young ones like shortcuts. There's no shortcut to anything that is good. A leader must have passion, an intense enthusiasm for something. He must have empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. He must be consistent, that is, acting or done in the same way as previously, especially so as to be fair or accurate or unchanging in standard continuously. The first nursery rhyme I learned at Breadfruit School way back in 1938 says, good, better, best. May I never rest until my good is better and my better is best. That must be the aim of a good leader. A good leader must be inspirational. That is, he must provide inspiring leadership, inspire followers, fill them with the urge or ability to do or feel something, create a feeling in a person A good leader is, among other things, a mentor, an advisor, and a teacher. William Arthur Ward, a consummate teacher of teachers, said, The mediocre teacher tells. The good teacher explains. The superior teacher demonstrates. The great teacher inspires. This is the role that a good leader must aspire to play. As I said, the hallmark of leadership is stewardship, the willingness to serve. That is leadership. This is essential for what is described as action-centered leadership. This concept originated from Professor John Adair, who was one of the pioneer lecturers at the Administrative Staff College, which was later turned to Henley Management College, where I did my MBA almost 50 years ago. When you're required to perform a task, you need persons, that is, individuals. Such individuals demand being welded into a team. With this, you will obtain 3 overlapping circles. Try and imagine it, 3 circles, one beside the other until 3 overlap. As the 3 circles overlap one another, if one of them is destroyed, the other 2 will also be destroyed. The main objective of a good leader is to ensure that this does not happen. In that kind of setting, the task, that is the objective to be achieved, must be known and understood by every member of the team. And every individual within that team must be skillful. It must be competent. It must be dependable. When you have these 2 combined, you have a good team. And of course, the team itself comprises trained individuals, all purposeful and well knitted or welded together. Let us take some examples of teams. For example, a football team. When Nigeria was about to send the first team to play in England way back in 1949, the coach was Engineer Uriel. Watching him coaching his team was very, very interesting. He would tell Titus Okere, who dribbles on the line without going out, that when you have dribbled twice, pass it to the midfield, to the center half back, and just go to your next position where you will score the goal. And he doesn't vary it. That's why he was Okere was a good scorer. A good leader will give instructions. Members of the team will follow the instructions and they will get the results they need. Another example is a good company or any other organization. Another example is a country or a nation. Using a nation, that is politics, as an example, a statesman or stateswoman is one who is skilled, experienced, and a respected political figure. So do not attempt to present yourself as one if you do not possess all these attributes. Statecraft is the skillful management of state affairs. Bearing the foregoing in mind will enable political leaders, especially in developing countries, to develop the nation and govern it well. It will ensure justice. It will banish insecurity and poverty and promote peace. The result of all this will be a fantastic nation. A country whose nationals are true patriots. Such a nation will be the envy of others. I will rest here, so you can ask questions to bring out all the other attributes that good leadership needs to demonstrate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You've been listening to Olola, Bode, Ogunlana. If you have any questions, I would like you to send your questions to me direct on ahmed.oduye, O-D-U-Y-E, @yahoo.co.uk. We'll see you in another 5 minutes.
Baby, it's your time, baby. Get my baby. That's the difference when you're my baby. That's how it is when you. Nobody make me stop the world. What do we do when these people don't know what you've been through? You survive through the night, through the dark. That's the time. It's only right that you do what you like. Go ahead, it's your time, baby. It's your time, baby. Get my baby. That's the difference when you're my baby. That's how it is when you. Nobody make me stop the world. Go ahead, it's your time, baby. It's your time, baby. Get my baby. That's the difference when you're my baby. That's how it is when you.
Right. The first question we have is from someone here in London. He's anonymous. Anyway, he would like to know, his question is, what is leadership? What's the difference between leadership here in the UK compared to leadership in Nigeria?
Well, leadership wherever in the world should be the same. All I'm stressing is that the quality of leadership must be correct. A good leader offers himself because he's skillful, because he knows the way.
Like a stewardship.
Exactly. A good leader is a good servant. So if you offer to become a leader, you must be prepared to serve.
Okay.
Not only to serve for the splendor of the office, no, it's for the responsibility attached
To the office. A lot of our leaders are there for the splendor.
Exactly.
The good times.
Grandeur, the splendor, that is what
attracts them. How can we make them to be more accountable?
Well, here, leadership and followership must be looked at together. Good leaders make good followerships. Where your leaders are good, the followers will follow your example. As Yorubas would say, "Ẹṣin iwájú kò rí tẹ̀yìn wò sáré." If a good leader is corrupt, he tells lies, he makes promises that are never fulfilled, the followers will do exactly the same. So you must lead by example.
Leadership by example.
Exactly. Leadership by example. Nations that have been many, many years ahead of us, they must have had some of their rough moments too. But over the years, they will develop, and all the rough edges, they will knock them into shape, chisel them, polish them, and then they will be what they are. But in developing countries, I'm not asking them to reinvent the wheel, but having other examples, they should learn from them and do what such people are doing, not be selfish. They must be there to serve the interests of the people. It's very interesting when you watch them making promises during their campaign.
Yeah.
I will do this, I will do that, I will beat down the heavens. But as soon as they get in, they become masters. That's what we are saying.
So, in other words, leadership by example and service rather than them seeing themselves as the boss. So they're servants of the people, more or less.
That is what it should be. In the colonial days, I was a civil servant and I did serve. But today, most of the people in the civil service, they have become public masters. Both the politicians and the bureaucrats, most of them are now public masters instead of being civil servants.
Wow. So, now, can you give us an example of the time you were the vice president of the Boy Scouts of Nigeria? One of how you got to the position of leadership and what you did.
Well, I joined the World Organization of the Scout Movement way back in 1942, in January, as a camp.
Yeah.
Then I went to the troop. Then I became a corps leader, a scout commissioner, and so forth. Some years ago, in 1969, I attended a course at Gilwell, very now, up in here, in Epping Forest.
Yeah.
I was the youngest in the group, but I was made a patrol leader. And the eldest person, the oldest person in our group, was made the boy to keep the tent clean and to make the beds. But I observed that this man...
How old would you say?
He was old and bent. I mean, he was 60 plus.
Okay.
And the way he was working and moving, you would see that it was very, not very comfortable for him. So I said, come and sit down here. Would you like some coffee? I mean, you just got off from bed. He said, I'd love it. I made coffee for him. Whilst he was taking the coffee, I was making the beds. Because I knew that bending down to make those beds would be uncomfortable for him.
Roughly how old were you during this time?
I was the youngest person. In 1969, I was about 30.
Early 30s, roughly.
Yes.
Okay.
You know. Then the fellow was supposed to do the cooking. I looked at the time, and I saw smokes oozing out from behind the tents. I went to Jeremiah. I said, how come? We're not going to eat this food. Well, I haven't been cooking for some time. I had stewards and all the rest of it. I said, you've forgotten your fire lighting. He said, well, how long ago was that? I taught him how to make the fire. And we had our lunch. This is what good leaders should do. While doing all that, I didn't know that there were some people around who were making notes.
Taking notes of what you
We were doing, observing things. And
this in 1969?
1969. So when I went to Melbourne in 1986 to contest election for the World Committee, I saw people campaigning and giving gifts. And I told Bill, the president, I said, oh, I brought no gifts. I have not campaigned. He said, oh, Bode, don't bother your head. Many of them will not be elected.
Just like that?
Yes.
Were they planning to rig it or what?
And the following day, I got the entire 112 votes. I said, "Babe, this is funny. You must be reading it." He said, "No, no,
I was
no."
going to say.
Do you remember that way back in 1969, when you were attending a woodbat course, some people were walking around making notes? I was one of them. And we saw the signs of leadership in you. So I've told all the associations that if you want a good leader, elect that young man from Nigeria.
Wow. In 1969, you got payback in 1986.
86. Not only was I elected to the World Committee, I became the vice chairman of the World Committee.
Wow.
Of course, I had been chairman of the African Scout Committee and chief commissioner in Nigeria. Leadership is step by step. You don't acquire all the skills in one day.
No.
One goes on top of the other, but you must be consistent. Otherwise, you will not last as a leader.
True. One thing, and this is a personal question, one thing I have noticed is a lot of people keep talking about our leaders. Our leaders are the ones doing all these negative things. And they forget about the followership as well. In my own opinion, I think the civil servants are probably one of the worst when it comes to corruption. How do you separate the civil servants or even the followers from the leaders? And because they just bundle everything is all on the leadership and nobody talks about the followers that are doing equally terrible things.
As I said, when you see children playing on the seesaw, one goes up and the other goes down. But the rhythm must be there. The focal point is in the middle,
Yeah.
and it must have been set so that both of them can move
Right.
as well. The whole thing starts from the beginning of education. Years ago, even before Christ, Plato was explaining what education is, and he likened it to the triangle, the base of which is home. The first education that children get is at home, from
Right.
their parents,
Right.
from their siblings, from their cousins.
Home training.
Home training. That is the best and most important part of education. If that is right and sound, the other two, the other sides of the triangle, one, the formal education, primary school, secondary school, university, and all the rest of it. Well, it's part of education. But when you look at it very well, all these lecturers and teachers are regurgitating what they have learned, which other people have put in, test you as well, and then you just pinch it out and teach other people.
Right.
The third side is the world at large. When you get into the world at large, that is where you start your education. So when you start to interact with members of the public, you will learn a lot from them. If the base has been very good, you will always be doing positive things. If the base has been wrong, it will be negative. So, for good leadership, you must have sound education, sound training. And to infuse people with good followership, you must provide good examples.
Wow. Thank you very much, sir. We've just completed our first 30 minutes and we're going to be taking a break. I would implore you to please send in your questions, either, as I said, by email to ahmed.oduye@yahoo.co.uk, or for those of you that have my number, you can WhatsApp me directly. Thank you for the time being. We will be back in 10 minutes. Come back. We're still with Olola, Bode, Ogunlana, and thank you for joining us today. To the next thing we'll be doing right now will be talking about insurance. Baba will be talking about insurance. After which I will be taking he will be taking questions. But in the meantime, whilst he is delivering his speech on insurance, if you guys can kindly send in your questions during his speech, it will be easier to do it all within the short period of time that we have. So, Eshe Gonsa, over to you again, sir.
Well, insurance is not what many people think it is. We have been practicing insurance in our backwoods even before the Europeans came. But let's come back to this part of the world. Insurance started very well at Edward Lloyd's Coffee House in 1313. It was a coffee house where people went, traders and merchants.
Was that here in the UK?
In the UK, in the city.
Okay.
And out of that came what you now have Lloyd's operations. And Lloyd's is a very big thing.
Lloyd's underwriters.
Lloyd's underwriters, subscribers, underwriting members, and all the rest of them. I was an underwriting member, taking risks.
Okay.
Insurance is a system where, for the payment of little sums by a large number of people, any one of them that is unfortunate to suffer a loss from the pool of funds that has been gathered, the loss is made good. So that your business is not destroyed.
Okay.
But having started to insure, you must be consistent with it. You don't know when that loss will
happen. Yeah.
Insurance is a sub-sector of risk management,
Okay.
which many people don't know.
I never knew that.
When you are in a business or in a situation, we are always dealing with risks. You don't know when you will fall down. You don't know when you will make a loss in your business. You don't know when the thief will come or when a fire will happen. But by insuring those losses or by managing the risks, you will be prepared at all times to meet them. As I said, risk management is looking at risks in your environment. Which of them can you absorb yourself as a person? Having decided on that, you don't have to insure everything. If I can manage this from my funds, you lay off, you insure what you cannot manage. That is where insurance comes in. Nowadays, insurance is now appreciated. It's a means by which you develop skills that will enable you to gather funds and manage them in such a way that when losses do occur, you can pay them. But you must also create reserves.
Okay. But the question, I have a question, sir. People have this notion that insurance, one of the things that the arguments against them is they really try every possible way not to pay out.
A good underwriter won't do that. The best way to advertise insurance is by prompt settlement of claims.
Okay.
Let me give you an example. Years ago, I think it was 1959, I went to Ubiaja. They were just starting a new college. The Reverend Father, I've forgotten the name. I visited him and I said, "Oh, you have construction insurance?" Rich construction said, "What is that?" And I explained. He said, "You insurance people, you are thieves." I don't want to insure anything, go.
Okay.
I left him, but I went on to Benin, to Warri, to Asaka, Abraka, Isele Oku, and all the rest of it. And by the time I got back to our office in Lagos, in Ibadan, There was a telegram waiting for me from Reverend Father McGovern.
I've heard that name
He
before.
said, your juju has worked. We had a storm, and the roof of 7 of the houses were removed. Come back now and give us insurance.
Well, of course, you're not going to now going to
Oh no,
do it
the losses are
retroactively.
gone, but the
Okay.
new ones that are in
Insured.
place,
Yeah.
they were insured.
Okay.
Also,
Okay.
Èṣù ṣe ni wò, ká tó mọ ibi tó gbé ń dún.
Exactly.
Having learned the hard way,
Yeah.
he remembered us.
It was easier, and it was easier to.
Now let me come back to your question.
Yeah.
Many people think that we don't want to pay. You must choose your insurer carefully. And this is why we have insurance brokers. They have developed expertise. They know who the good insurance companies are, who will pay claims promptly.
So, in other words, what you're saying is they are not focused on one insurer alone.
No.
You have a.
They know the market.
Okay.
That X company is very good in that particular kind of risk.
Okay.
And over the years, when there are claims, they have settled promptly. This is why people now use insurance
Brokers.
brokers,
Brokers, yeah.
which is what my company does.
Okay.
And we've been doing it for 46 years.
Wow, that's pretty long one.
We met companies on the market who are now defunct or dead. It's because they do not have the necessary skills and the expertise. In our own team, we have engineers. We have people.
Engineers in insurance.
Engineers. Their first degree may be in engineering, then they will come to us and we train them in insurance. When it comes to risk management, an engineer will be much better than an ordinary person.
Yeah.
We have French graduates. So when we are dealing with our neighbors or French people, we can talk to them in
As
the language
well.
they understand. So we have combined people from different backgrounds and disciplines. This is why we have a focused team that can operate globally.
Wow.
We operate in London. We have associates in as far Australia, anywhere in the world,
Okay.
because we understand the language of insurance.
Wow.
So insurance is a system of helping to develop a country, the national economy, whilst at the same time making input to make the funds larger. When we collect money, all do not go into claim. You must create reserves for the rainy day.
Okay.
So we help the country in several other ways many people don't know. When bonds are issued, treasury bills and things, insurance companies, the insurance market buys a lot of it.
Okay.
We help with training. When we give risk management talks, we don't charge for that. But the wise ones will learn from it and do exactly what is correct. So we really must educate people to let them know what insurance is, what it stands for. Years ago, I developed a particular product amongst my friends, Lagos Friendly Society.
Okay.
We were all young then. We were paying rent to some sharks who call themselves landlords. And I said, why don't you come and take loans from my company? You will take a life assurance policy, a term assurance,
Right.
to mature when you are 55, about when you should be retiring.
Right.
Pay your premium, pay the interest on the loan. When you add both of them, is equivalent to what you are paying in rent to somebody else.
Wow.
They listened to my advice, they did it. If one of them is unfortunate to die, the wife does not inherit a debt. She has roof over her head because the husband has taken a life assurance.
Life insurance. You know, there is actually someone here in the UK who is interested in a funeral director. They're interested in funeral insurance.
We used to do that years ago. The great Nigerian insurance company, the British American
Insurance.
local company, we sent young people out with the bags slung over their shoulders. They go into the markets, work sites, and people pay their small premiums in notebooks with both of them initial. If someone dies in your family, you can take a loan.
So what happened? Did it stop or?
Well, they think it's too small, and they're no longer doing that kind of thing. They have forgotten that little drops of water make the mighty ocean.
Sure.
They want to go in for the big ones, government contracts and all the rest of it.
Okay.
So they've left all those small ones aside.
Okay.
I mean, well, times have changed.
Okay, that's interesting. I hope you're sending your questions in because I would like to, take direct questions from you. I have answered a few from people that message me directly on my WhatsApp, but it's ahmed.oduye@yahoo.co.uk. Anyway, Baba, to go on, I know you've been in insurance for 70 odd years.
I started on the 2nd of April 1952.
1952. We're here or?
Back home.
Okay.
And of course, I came here for training. I was interned with very many companies in different cities. I worked in Bristol, in Nottingham, in Manchester, in Liverpool, all over the place, acquiring knowledge, and I went on courses in Tokyo, in America, all over the place.
Okay. And all from Nigeria, because a lot of the people here, when they talk about Nigeria, they are fond of just slagging off Nigeria as if it's a no-win situation. Just forget about the country and things like that.
Well, people like that are uninformed. I was explaining to someone who came to visit us. I live at St. John's Wood Park. I explained to him that place where we live used to be the hunting ground for William the Conqueror when he came in 1066 after the Battle of Hastings.
Wow.
An Englishman asking me that, how come that you know so much about English history? I said, well, we were colonial people. Instead of learning our own history, we had to learn English history and Commonwealth history. But it's coming in use now.
Yeah.
Nothing you learn is ever useless.
Useless.
One day it will come to the forefront and you will use it. So, we have all sorts of insurance schemes back home.
I was just going to go on to that.
Yes, like in that job,
Ready.
the young people will go around collecting the money. They can collect from 50 people. Only 1 or 2 people will take part of it to start small businesses of their own.
Is that similar to what Alajo Shomolu did in his time?
Exactly. Sometimes people don't even take their job. He will put it in the bank and he will earn interest for himself. But they will get only what they have, they are sure they will get.
Very.
So when we get the money as insurance company, we invest them.
Okay.
We invest the money, we give some to the government, through bonds, through treasury bills and all the rest of it. We pay tax,
Okay.
and all the rest of it. So insurance is a very important thing, and the government must encourage them. I mean, we have the law in Nigeria, which is when you have buildings, you must insure them. 90% of the buildings are not insured, and nobody is enforcing them. And the guilty party is government itself.
Yeah.
They don't insure their buildings, whereas they made the law.
So, anyway, from my perspective here in the UK, my old boy Association, Baptist Academy, Lagos, we had a life insurance policy which we bought into one of the insurance companies in Nigeria. Being an insurance broker, how would your company, SCIB, deal with a situation like that? Because we only went for one, whereas you deal with...
I mean, for example, I wouldn't know what kind of policy that your association bought.
Yeah.
It could be personal accident, it could be travel, it could be
Sickness as well.
exactly for sickness,
Yeah.
medical, and that kind of.
Yeah,
Yes, there are very different kinds.
yeah.
A good broker will go to his client, examine his company,
Mm.
and he will tell you what his needs are insurance-wise. That you need to insure this, you need to insure this. This you can assume yourself, you don't have to waste some money for that kind of thing.
Okay.
So your association is very wise. I mean, if you have term insurance,
Mm.
it's good for you, for your family. If you have public liability, people don't know that if someone visits you in your house
Mm.
and he falls down, you are liable in law.
Really?
Oh yeah. If you have a public liability policy, the claim will be done.
In this country, I know you make all sorts of claims, but I doubt if we do that at all.
If you know, I used to own a dog. I had a public liability insurance. If my dog bites someone, the liability is mine. It was insured.
It's here, it happens here.
I know.
But does it apply in Nigeria today?
Well, I insured, and whenever I had claim, it is paid.
Okay. Okay. There you go. You can do it. This is part of the information we need, because a lot of us really don't have as you said, a clear understanding of how insurance
Well, it
works.
depends on how enterprising the companies are. When I was young, and I first came back from the UK, when I qualified way back in '58, I would go to schools and to universities, to churches, to explain what insurance is to them, how they can benefit as individuals, how their businesses can benefit, how they can insure their assets, and in fact, loss of profits resulting from a fire.
Okay.
Because when the house is being rebuilt, you are losing income.
Right.
That can be insured.
Right. I didn't know that. By the way, I must mention this. Baba Olola Ogunlana is the doyen of insurance in Nigeria. Just like when we talk of accountancy, it's the gentleman that died recently,
Pa Akintola Williams.
Akintola Williams.
Accountant, yeah.
Benny. I know you said he was the one that recruited you in the 50s for some job role.
Yes, he was involved in getting me to work at the Great Nigeria Insurance Company. He was the auditor to Great Nigeria Insurance Company.
Insurance company.
At that time, I didn't want to take the job because
Right.
working for government is not easy. And he said, no, it's a sound company.
Go for it. What I would like you to tell us is how and when you left the NICOM, the first insurance company, and you took over from the Scottish guy,
Yeah.
and you ended up setting up your own. This was in 75. After you left, the
Yes.
story about you
Yes.
going to meet Gowon and
I
all that.
left NICOM in 1975 as the chief executive. I was one of the consultants that set it up.
Mhm.
And we employed an expatriate to come and run it. But he was not allowed to his responsibilities. He and allowed the directors, led by the chairman, to take over the management of the company. Not being insurance experts, they couldn't do it very well. So when Nicky Briggs was the Minister of Trade at that time, sacked them, and asked me to become the managing director. And within 3 short years, we reorganized the place, and everything went very well. So you must put round pegs in round holes. Don't try to force square pegs into round holes, which is what many of the development countries are doing. Ìka tó bá tó sí múná fi ń ronú.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, èèyàn ni mú eléyìí kó sọ fún Anyway, I mean, we've almost finished this already, but one final question is when you set up SCIB, was that in 1975 or 78?
No, we set up as consultants in 1975,
Yeah,
and the consultant could act as insurance broker in that time.
right.
But when a new law came,
Yeah,
a consultant could no longer be.
yeah.
So we had to set up SCIB.
Just a quick one on how you managed to get like about 90% of the consultancy.
It was not the
When you finished, you know, after you left and you told me the story about how you,
Well, yes, I was enterprising, and being the managing director of SCIB, I was also the regulator. So I knew all the companies. And I approached a very large organization that the premium you are paying is 100, it should be 60. The scope of cover you have is 60, it should be 100. I can help you to
get it.
realign all this. And you won't pay a penny. The insurance company will pay the brokerage. And they gave me a trial.
And that's how you got into business
And
and it's grown to what it is
I
today.
didn't use the money to buy houses or cars. I employed graduates and trained them. At least 70% of the managers in the market today must have passed through our organization. If you went for seeking for a job and you say, I've worked in SCIB, you wouldn't need an interview.
Right.
You'll be given a job.
Excellent. Also, we haven't had time to talk about the results in Ogiri. Can you just give us a brief?
Well, the TCC, as it's called, Training and Conference Center, is now resort. It started as an insurance training center in 1985.
Yeah.
When the patronage was not as high as we thought, we treated people. So other people in the finance area,
Benefited from,
everybody
yeah.
came running their courses there. And then it's now a resort. Even people come there on holidays. People cannot afford to travel abroad. They will come for Christmas or Easter, for weekends. Yeah. So you have to be innovative when you are running a business.
The business, yeah.
There is a resort with 214 bedrooms,
200, that's a lot.
with half-size Olympic swimming pool, a 9-inch golf course, tennis courts, and all sorts of things.
You guys are listening.
You have to-
Only Ogiri.
Yeah, and you have to advertise all these things for people to know.
Yeah, and what's the distance to Lagos? I think it was about 37 minutes to Lagos, about 30 something to
No,
Ibadan.
From the toll gate maybe, but
Yeah.
for example, from my house in Parkview
Yeah,
to my house in Ogiri,
yeah,
it's exactly 1 hour.
1 hour, okay. And Ibadan as well.
The TCC is midway between Lagos and Ibadan, 61 kilometers to 160 kilometers to Lagos.
Okay, and Abeokuta is about 30
It's
some
the middle between Abeokuta and Ijebu, 39 kilometers to 141 to
to the other. Yeah.
It was well chosen.
Wow, so well done. It's been a pleasure to have had Olola Bode Ogunlana here with us to, just explain briefly to us, because I've had the opportunity talking to him on different topics, but a few of my friends accused me of hogging him to myself. So I gave you this opportunity. More could come at any point in time, and if you are interested in knowing a bit more about either if it's the SCIB insurance company or the resorts, you're welcome to call them directly. You actually have people that could take up your call as we speak. So thank you, and I apologize again for being late, but I hope I haven't disappointed you so far. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much for organizing this. I've enjoyed it, and I hope some people will benefit from it.
I hope so too, sir. Thank you, sir.
It's your time, baby. It's your time, baby. Get my baby. That's the difference when you're my baby. That's how it is when you. Nobody make me start the way. what you've been through. You survive through the night, through the darkest of times. It's only right that you do what you like. Go ahead, it's your time, baby. It's your time, baby. Get my baby. That's the difference when you're my baby. That's how it is when you. Nobody make me stop the world. Go ahead, it's your time, baby. It's your time, baby. Get my baby. That's the difference when you're my baby.